Hey. So I was just it's very nice now, by the way, really nice. A few little weird ones, but really nice. Pity we've only got about another hour of daylight. Hey ho, won't complain. Talk radio talking about the huge number of youth unemployment on record levels. And obviously we've got the economic situation that has enabled and kind of promoted that outcome. But they were putting a lot of it down to mentality of our young and anxiety, mental health. And it just made me kind of compare where the youth were when I was, late teens, 20s, starting out working, although I had my first job at 10, never mind. And as a kid, like I've talked about, we didn't have phones, obviously, in the 80s, 90s. Young kids would just be at school, happy playing, and being outdoors was a huge thing. Pretty much all schools chucked you out, come rain nor shine. You were outside. You didn't hear much about the news. You weren't on your phone. You were with your friends. You might have a TV program once a day. You were building dens. You were colouring. You were making games with your friends. All these kind of things. And then as you got older, teenagers would hang around with their mates in town. It was always really safe, clean. The shops were always busy and bustling because the economy was pretty good in the 80s, 90s. And things were great. I had no stress as a teenager. All you thought about was the latest boy you liked, or what outfit you were wearing that night, or what friend you'd fallen out with that week. Really basic teenage stuff. And then even into my 20s, I think early 20s, that's when 9/11 first happened. And I think that first kind of disquiet started in me. And then looking at kids today, and I use my own kids as an example. So really happy, pretty fortunate kids generally. Really, really happy kids when they were younger. Again, we're very active, outdoorsy people. But again, the first chunk of kind of out of the armour for them was the Ariana Grande terrorist attack. And I think I could see that kind of just took a bit of light out of them. Not quite understanding why. Sorry, I just thought there's a dog. No, why someone would do that. They've never seen or heard such kind of evil. And then obviously COVID hit for them, and that was immense. I saw quite a lot of light go out of their eyes with COVID. They were just loving school, loving their friends. They're really sporty. And all of a sudden having all of that taken away in a second. And leading up to that, like making kids space away from each other, not doing all the fun activities, cancelling everything, wearing masks, being afraid, pushing fear, pushing anxiety, all over a virus that had a lower IFR rate than normal flu. I'll never forgive a lot of people for the fear they pushed on kids. It was so unforgivable, so unnecessary. And the damage they caused to kids, education, communication in the young, instilling that fear that, your life can change in a heartbeat, which as adults we know, but again, also unnecessary. So massive amounts of education was lost, all those childhood experiences just lost. You've got crime surging, and again, I never knew of any crime as a kid apart from the odd little petty theft, and now they're just here on a permanent basis because they're surrounded by phones and media and TVs and access to all this information. They hear of the most horrific crimes on a near daily basis, and kids know that they don't really want to hang around in town, and they see towns degraded, they see the economy going down the pan, so places don't look so great, shops are closing. They worry about knife crime. Even a child that I know is 10 was talking to his mum about knife crime. They have a lot of fears. They've obviously got the climate catastrophists pushing you know, the world's going to end every day, and oh, global warming and 1 degree this and the ice caps this, that we've had for a long time, but again, because of media and the education system, it's pushed on them relentlessly. Kids, again, going back to the crime, are having to start doing lockdowns in schools, which you know, is unimaginable to somebody of the 80s. We never had to even think or consider something like that. And now the idea kids are having to be taught on a regular basis to hide, it just breaks my heart as a parent. We've got the cost of living for kids who see around them, you know, everything's really expensive, and so you haven't got money to go and do stuff and enjoy life. Again, I used to get the bus into town for just pennies, and the cinema would be cheap and popcorn would be cheap. Now you know, you need 40 quid just to go into town, or whatever it is. You need 40 quid just to go to the cinema. Everything's so expensive, so they have less to do. Sports is closing, fields are getting bought to build on, and schools are cutting down on their sports. We're teaching kids to, you know, just in school, again, sorry about being anti-British and being anti-white or anti-masculine, and, you know, just all very negative and divisive things. Sorry, I'm switching around. And going back to cost of living, more parents are having to work. So again, when I was a kid, pretty much most mums I knew were at home. So kids knew they would come home and there'd be a parent there, there'd be a home cooked meal there. Now, even myself, I'm having to work more and more. So kids are seeing their parents more stressed. They're not around to take time to listen to their kids. Again, mine are pretty good, but I'm just saying in general. Do more fun activities, again, going back to cost. You know, the balance is really off in terms of quality of life these days. What was my last thing? Just in general, we need to go back to really instilling a thick-skinned British blitz spirit, can do, get up the floor, don't cry, don't, you know, dust off your trousers. Patriotism, getting out, doing sports, team sports in particular, getting some rough and tumble. We need that patriotism, that can do. We then need an economy, obviously, that is positive and gives opportunity and hope to people. Cost of living, that's not insane. So you don't need a mortgage to heat your home over winter, and you have some money to go do stuff. And then bring the crime down so kids feel safe going out and about, and parents feel happy to let them have more freedom. It's all of these things. None of it's rocket science. And we need to go back to, like, just not giving loads of fear to our children. So if a virus hits that causes a cold, let's just be calm. Let's not just suddenly put up the blinds on everything and damage the whole economy and every kid's education. Just old school British, calm, can do, roll up your sleeves, don't panic mentality. We really need to bring that back. But I think it all coincides with education, mentality, crime, economy, and doing up our areas and making people feel good. And lastly, obviously, the weather really helps. So it's been so dark and cold, and you see, as soon as the sun came out today, about 4:30, suddenly people are out again, happy chappies. The birds are eating the bird food they've been missing all day. All of these things have such an impact on people, but they're all, apart from the weather, really very easy to solve if you have a team and a government that want a happy population.